In the desolate stretch of Roswell's land, where the scorching sun bleaches the sand, a tale unfolded in the summer of '47, not of heaven, but a nightmare driven. The night was calm, no stars to see, just the hum of the desert, wild and free. Then, without warning, the sky did tear, a streak of fire, a burst of flare. A craft descended, no human design, with jagged edges and eerie shine. It tumbled and twisted, then fell with a scream, a sight so surreal it felt like a dream. The townsfolk gathered, whispers and dread. What could it be? Their voices spread. But before they could ponder or explore the sight, the government arrived, under the cloak of night. Black-suited men with cold, dead eyes spoke in hushed tones and fed the lies. They roped off the site, secured the zone, and what they found chilled them to the bone. In the wreckage, a sight of horror lay, not just machinery, cold and gray, but bodies twisted like nothing on earth, creatures whose forms defied our worth. Their skin was like ash, their eyes were void, their limbs were wrong, their flesh destroyed. But worse still, as the agents probed, the secrets of these beings were slowly disrobed. Among the debris, vials were found, filled with liquids, dark and profound. Not just water or fluids benign, but human blood in a morbid design. Organs, too, were stored with care, kidneys, hearts, lungs laid bare. But not just human, these parts were strange, from creatures unknown, from ranges deranged, skins of beasts with scales and fur, eyes of things that slither and purr, hands with claws or webbed like a frog, all stuffed in containers, stored like logs. The discovery of these, a grotesque collection, brought forth a sickening, vile reflection. For these beings, these travelers of space, had used humanity as part of their race, not as equals, not as friends, but as food, their hunger to end. The blood, the flesh, all meant to sustain a dark, twisted need that drove them insane. These aliens, not gods, not wise sages, but predators fierce from unknown ages. Their ship was a butcher's shop in the sky, where humanity's place was not to fly high. The government knew as they sifted through, this truth would tear the world in two. For if mankind learned they were mere meat, the world's control would face defeat. So they hatched a plan, a cover-up neat, to spin a tale, a lie discreet. A weather balloon, they claimed with glee. But the real horror was something to flee. The bodies were carted, sealed in steel, to labs where silence was the only deal. The organs dissected, the blood analyzed, the true nature of man forever despised. Reports were buried, witnesses bought, those who spoke up were simply caught. Some disappeared, some went mad, all to protect the lie they had. The media played along as if in a trance, spinning the story in a carefully crafted dance. Roswell became a joke, a myth, a tale for fools, a story to dismiss. But in the dark, in secret rooms, the scientists worked facing doom. For what they found in the aliens' mind was a darkness that haunted all mankind. These beings had come, not as the first, but as scouts of a hunger, a cosmic thirst. Their kind had fed on worlds before, leaving bones and ashes, nothing more. And Earth was next, a feast in line to be devoured by forces divine. But their crash, their fall, gave humans time to hide the truth, to avoid the crime. The governments of Earth, in panic and fear, agreed to the silence to keep it clear. For the world wasn't ready, not by far, to face the truth of the cosmic scar. The Roswell crash they buried deep, but the knowledge they kept in shadows to creep. For mankind's place in the food chain was low, and the real masters we dare not know. Yet the horrors of that night still linger and last, a reminder of secrets, of a shadowy past. And as we sleep under the stars' bright gleam, we forget the terror, we forget the dream. But in the desert where the ship did fall, there are those who remember, who recall it all. The taste of blood, the scent of decay, the truth of Roswell hidden away. In a time before time, when the world was still young, a story began that would chill every lung. It whispered through ages, in shadow and flame, of beings from elsewhere, with no known name. They came from the stars, from the dark void of space, with eyes that could pierce through the veil of all grace. In the mists of old Egypt, when pyramids rose, a terror descended where the Nile calmly flows. The Library of Alexandria, a beacon of light, was set ablaze on a black moonless night, not by Caesar's men, nor by some human strife, but by creatures of darkness who scorned mortal life. They danced in the flames, their laughter a hiss, as knowledge and wisdom turned to ash in the abyss. Then centuries passed, and the earth turned around, till the year 1812 in Washington town. The British, they say, set the capital alight, but whispers tell differently of creatures in flight. They came with the storm as the cannons did roar, invisible devils who had settled the score. With hands made of shadow and hearts made of ice, they set fire to the halls where men made their vice. The capital burned in a blaze fierce and tall, but the true cause was hidden, not known to them all. In the dark of the night when cities fell low, the aliens came and no mercy did show. They landed in Troy. In times long ago, their wrath was mistaken for a gift from below. The great wooden horse, it was not what it seemed, but a vessel of doom that the old ones had dreamed. When night fell on Troy and the gates opened wide, the creatures poured out and the city's heart died. Not by the Greeks, but by beings of dread, whose hunger for ruin would leave cities dead. In London, in 1666, when the fire raged high, it wasn't just sparks that lit up the sky. A comet, they said, brought the flames to the town, but the truth lay in shadows that stalked all around. Invisible specters with eyes burning red brought forth the inferno that left thousands dead. The city was cleansed in a baptism of fire as the beings from space fulfilled their dark desire. And the plague that had spread through the streets like a flood was no mere disease, but the aliens' blood. In Rome, when Nero fiddled and watched the flames rise, it wasn't just madness that sparked his dark eyes. The aliens were there, in the heart of the night, whispering to Nero, guiding his might. They craved the destruction, the chaos, the fear, and with every building that fell, they drew near. The people screamed, and the city did fall, but Nero's hand wasn't behind it all. The aliens laughed as the empire did bleed, feeding on terror, fulfilling their need. Throughout history's pages, in every great war, the aliens' presence is found at the core. In Dresden, in Tokyo, when the bombers did fly, it wasn't just man who caused those to die. A presence unseen, yet always so near, would fan the flames of humanity's fear. The atomic flash, the blinding bright light, was cheered by these creatures who lurked in the night. For every soul lost in the blaze and the roar was a feast for the aliens who craved even more. They've come with each era, each cycle of time, to harvest our fears and revel in crime. In the jungles of Vietnam, when napalm did fall, it wasn't just soldiers who answered the call. The aliens hovered unseen in the sky as forests burned and children did cry. Their laughter was silent, their hunger profound, as the fires of war scorched the blood-soaked ground. And now in the present, with our cities aglow, do you think they are gone, or do you not know? They still walk among us, in shadows they hide, awaiting the moment to turn the tide. With every wildfire, with each building that falls, remember the whispers, the ancient calls. For they have been here since the dawn of our days, and they will be here when our world decays. So look to the skies when the night's at its darkest, and listen to the wind when the storm is its sharpest. For the aliens linger in places unseen, behind every disaster where the ground turns unclean. They feed on our fear, on our pain and our tears, and they'll burn this world down through the passage of years. Their story is endless, their hunger unbound. As long as there's fire, they'll always be found.